So I developed these methods of working, which is what I call my workflow, right? That's all workflow is. Workflow is how you do things when you're making music, your methods, the way you do it. My workflow is to do a lot of pre-production. So sometimes I will spend just 2 hours doing bass and that's it. And what I'll do is export all of it, right? And then what you get is a library of basses, right? So then what ended up happening was I've got an awful lot of libraries of basses because I've been doing this for a long time. So there's 2013 bass, and I didn't make any new bass for about 2 years after that because I was pretty happy with it. So I've got loads of basses here, loads and loads of them. I do pre-production sessions where I just do drums and then stop. Like get some kicks, some snares, some hats, do the processing stuff, finish for the day because my ears are tired, my brain is tired, but I've got what I need. And the most important thing is I export everything to audio all the time. So what you end up with are folders of drums as well. So I've got a load of break beats from like, these are the years and years old, 2009 I made these, showing my bloody age. But so this is loads of break beats that are chopped up at 175. Loads and loads of them. Right, and then again, I didn't need to do that for quite a long time because I did loads of them. I've done loads more in recent years. A lot of these are old breaks because I'm old and I love funk breaks. But also what I've been doing is bouncing out all of the parts from my songs as well. So when you do spend all that time and you get a track that sounds really good and you're happy with it, bounce the parts out, use them again. Because if you've done it once, you've got a really nice sounding kick or a nice snare, use it again, right? There's this sort of school of thought that you have to do everything new every time you make a tune. And like, I see people nodding, they're like, yeah, that is not productive, right? Don't get me wrong, you don't want to just go in, take a snare out of a sample pack and use it in every tune for the rest of your life. But if you've spent time doing the EQ, doing the compression, getting something that you're happy with, bounce it, and then you can use it again, and it's your sound anyway, right? So some of these ones are like parts. I've done lots of sessions where I'm doing one-to-one tuition and I work with students and we bounce 10 layers of drums. So I've got a kick that we'll probably end up using today. There's a break that I did a few days ago, and a bit later I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I did to it as well. But so I've got all these parts. I've also got bits out of my tunes as well because they're tracks I made that I'm really happy with. So there's like a snare from a new tune. It's clean, it's processed, it's ready to go, and it is in time at 174 BPM. So by doing all this pre-production, it means that when you do get an inspiration to actually write a piece of music, your tools, your palette is already there, right? And I was teaching one guy who's a painter and decorator, and he was telling me this analogy about getting your paint ready and your brushes, and he lost me a little bit, but you get the idea. If you're going to paint a house, you wouldn't turn up and be like, oh yeah, we should probably go and get some paint now. You'd bring all your tools with you. So what I've learned to do over the years, at first it was just because I needed to maximize my time, and now what it's made me able to do is write music a lot quicker. So the first step in order to be able to do this is when I load Logic, I've got a template ready to go. Right, and this is a result of years of having battles, doing mixdowns and understanding like, oh, that technique works really well. Doing that thing to my bass is really good. If I did something in lots of different tracks, I would save it and put it into my template. And now what I've got is a template that's ready to go, where the mix is sort of set up ready. So what I mean by that is there's nothing in the tune, but there are tracks for the kick to go to, the snare to go to, and then those are routed further down. So I've got a track for my kick, got a track for my snare, and then to show you the mixer section, I don't want it to be overwhelming, but this is just all buses that are set up ready to go. So this is just for my kick, for my snare, a parallel for the snare. And what that means is if I put a kick in the track that is labeled kick, it goes to this bus that says kick, and then it goes further down the line to my drum bus, and it means that all that stuff is done without me having to lose time in the session by setting all these things up. right? And you don't need to have a template anywhere near as complicated as this. You might have some filters that you love using on bass and a couple of things that you like to do to drums, and you've got 4 or 8 buses that you have set up ready to go. But the point being is that all that prep is done already, because I remember years ago I went to do a collab at a friend's house, and I was trying to set up my drum routing on Ableton, and I don't really know Ableton, and we spent about 3 hours doing it, and like the vibe was completely dead. Like when we spent 3 hours setting up buses and put a kick in, it was like I had no idea what music we were trying to do. And I realised that that was really counterproductive to how I worked. So by having it set up ready to go, that's going to really help you a lot. You might make a template for making sound design, get your 10 favourite synths, put them in a template, put some filters, some distortion, all there, load it up when you've got an hour and you can make a new bass, right? Because your template is ready, you don't have to spend all that time figuring it out. But just want to show you what I mean is that these are like raw basses. They're not finished and they're like pieces of bass. No one's going to write a tune with just that on one note, right? But these are all ready to go. So I've got all this stuff with sound design. This is all done on a separate day as well, because another thing that I don't find inspiring, I mean, this is just me, but when I'm writing music, I don't like to spend loads of time programming a synth patch, because I feel like you really lose track of what you were trying to do. Everyone had that feeling, you go, oh, I need a pad. Or what's good for pads? Serum. What oscillator should I use? And then half an hour later, you forget what you wanted to do with the pad. And that's not, I'm not saying that I don't care about sound design, not at all. But I try and do it all on separate days. And then it means that, yeah, when I come to write music, I'm just focusing on music rather than engineering. You've got to try and split the two in your head to a certain extent.